things were simpler in the older days, or maybe I just didn't know about the problems. Like I said, but I mean, I knew I was high up in the whole list of everything. I mean, Crater to Humanity, um, and the real Lucifer, and the person who had invented since like the Stone Age, or at least way back in time, 90% of the inventions are things being done in the world, at least a lot of it, a lot of the big ones. So they said I was so high my feet would never touch the ground, and possibly I'd never die. So anyway, I don't really know, um, but and I was worried about people, the small people. Like I said, it's kind of funny. I mean, most people think of Lucifer and the richest person in the world. That like I wouldn't care about the small little people that were starving or hungry. Of course I cared. They're all my people. So anyway, when the voting system first came out in Germany, there was a nightmare. There were more Jewish people than Polish. There were more these people than those people. There were only 2 Russians in the whole country or something like that. And they're like, well, I was like, oh, no, it doesn't count with voting. You can't vote like that. Because they were going to try and do, that's, like I say, separation of church and state, which basically means, and even race. We actually even did the separation of race. It doesn't matter if you're German. It doesn't matter if you're Polish. It doesn't matter if you're green or blue. Taxes are taxes. You're taxed and treated and housed and zoned the same. It should be, whether you be a German or a Russian, when you go to get a house, you still get that house. On the same basis, no bias, basically. Like I said, there was lots of bias in Germany, and there were lots of problems. But Germany was kind of like made up of lots of different little groups. It wasn't just one group. And it might have been more about the fact that one group wanted a water system, one group wanted power. And I was like, okay, guys, we'll work this out. Everyone's getting everything. So they had assurances from me that they would get water systems and roads and farms and food, and the food would be given out equally. So, because there was at first there was a lot of different things, and there was a lot of problems. Like I say, there was a lot of problems. I was working through it. And of course, Creator to Humanity and the real Lucifer, they're like, well, you're the only one who technically can't be killed. And 2, you are the Most High. So I was like, I wish I was the Most High. Now, there was no time for jokes. Immediately, everything was a nightmare. There were people not giving other people loans. I separated out a little bit because, I was that fallback procedure because when a German would want to get a loan or whatever, if the Jewish community wouldn't give them the loan, I would, from the government, because I was the system. So my banks were always equal and free, or equal, so because I didn't have bias, so they didn't have bias, and I had a fair amount of companies and businesses myself, so I always did. So I was kind of like doing the whole anti-bias thing. So because at first, Jewish people, they want to only support Jewish people, and I get that. And the German people only want to support, all the different groups were like, we have to stick together. And I was like, yeah, I know, that's okay, that's fine. I'll just pay out of my pocket. So in Germany, I would give them the loans. And like I say, ironically, when I talked to my financiers and my accountant people, they said, your loans were always paid back. Because people knew what a gift it was. Because they had gone to everywhere else and they couldn't get a loan. And they went to your bank and you said, yeah. Or your people said, yeah. It's like, yeah, no bias. So even the one Russian in Germany could get a loan. In fact, I was like, well, try and support minorities, if anything, more than anything else. Like, if they can get a loan somewhere else, tell them to go somewhere else. Because, we're trying to just help those people who wouldn't be helped. So I kind of like set up some of my groups to basically be like, well, this money is for the people who wouldn't be helped. In Germany, this was I'm talking about when I was doing Germany or when I was in Germany. I was trying to help out just minorities to kind of get them, up. Because, I mean, there was lots of Sicilians, there's lots of Jewish, there's lots of these other groups, but then there was these other groups, like people from, other places, and they would go to get a loan, and everyone else would be like, no, you're not part of the family. So somebody had to have their back. So I was that person. And like I say, ironically, it's kind of weird, like coming out of Germany or my experience with Germany, I was told by my German accountants that all your loans were always paid back. So I was like, oh, wow, really? They're like, yeah, they paid back in full and even gave you extra. I was like, oh, cool. That's awesome. So I always got my money back for some reason. Like I said, because there were a few people who, they had gone to everyone else, and no one else would help them. So I did. Like I said, I was always giving away stuff. I always had just like 3 companies or a couple of little bit of income from over here, or I ran some of the government or something. I was just, I had floating income. So, and I was always starting new stuff. I'd be like, so you want to go do a project for me? I'm thinking about building some boats, or I want to trade a railway out that way. I'll support you as much as I can. So, and my money lasted for quite a while. But then there was that time when I actually ran out of money, and someone had taken over my money, and I had lost it all, and then people just started giving me money, or just people just started doing things for me because I had been that person. So it's kind of weird, really. And then people started doing things because I was that person in America. So it's kind of weird how I went through it all. Because my evolution, inventor, then technically I was told that I didn't have any more money. And then people were like, well, we're going to do what he wants anyway. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. So anyway, and then I was doing civilization. And then I was running the German government without actually running the German government. And things just got really strange for me. So, the different kind of, going through. And then at some point in time, people realized, because I didn't go around telling people, like I've always said, I didn't tell people that my name was Lucifer. I didn't really tell people my name, or tell people that I was the creator of humanity. It's not something that ever came up. I was just like, I was an inventor. I like to be... I was just that builder that built that town. Or just that person that owned that company. That's what I was. I guess you could call me a ghost, really. Because I was always in control of lots of people, or a few people. Anyway, so it seemed like I always had somebody I could ask. So, anyway, that was my life. And, so yeah. Anyway. Complicated. Like I said, I never ordered the firebombing of Japan or Tokyo. I don't know how that happened. That was Kennedy or Nixon or someone. So, anyway. Yeah, we didn't test over populated areas. We didn't attack civilians. So, anyway, all this stuff was found out, I guess, and I was vindicated. Anyway, yeah, so... I've made lots of videos about this. It's stupid. I shouldn't make any more.